Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com. Hello, friends, and Happy New Year, and welcome to the first Ridiculously Raw of 2020. I am your host, as always, through your ridiculously overgood brother, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher, by the Phenom Michael Bullock, and the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. Oh, boy. A show that started so promising, and then it fell off a damn cliff. What else is there to say? So, let's get into it. Monday Night Raw, the first show of the new year. From Dee Dee Woodson's old neck of the woods, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the Chesapeake Energy Arena, the home of the Thunder. And we started it off. Hello, what's this? The WWE Champion, Brock Lesnar? Wow. Okay. So Lesnar and Heyman, they come out. Heyman cuts another money promo as he always does. But he drops a big announcement here. Yes, Brock Lesnar is the WWE Champion. But that's not going to stop the Beast from entering the Royal Rumble match. Yes, you heard me right. Brock Lesnar, the WWE Champion, is in the Royal Rumble match, and he is going to enter the match at number 1. If the title is not on the line here, it would be the first time that a WWE Champion has been in a Royal Rumble match without the title on the line since Hulk Hogan all the way back in 1990. We have not had a WWE Champion in a Rumble match without the title on the line since him. And he went on to win it. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's an interesting approach, and Heyman did his usual strong job of making this seem like a big deal. I assume that whatever happens in the Rumble match will set up Lesnar's WrestleMania match. No one on Raw has been built up to be a threat to Lesnar with the exception of Seth Rollins, but they're both heels. So I like the idea of Lesnar entering the Rumble more than him plowing through another opponent in a match with a predictable outcome. Heyman mentioned NXT multiple times along with Raw and SmackDown. And I guess that means we can expect a decent NXT presence in the Rumble match. So, one of the segments of the night, and what a way to start off the first Raw of the new year. So, I don't know what else there is to say. I got to bring in good old MF Michael Fletcher. I mean, MF, Brock Lesnar, the WWE Champion, entering the Rumble match, and the title's not on the line?
But think about what you just said, Florio. At the number 1 position. That's normally graveyard position. You're DOA when you're at number 1. Only 2 men in the history of the Royal Rumble has won it at the number 1 spot. So this is a very dangerous situation to say. But like you said, not many guys on Raw is a legitimate threat. There's not many guys on SmackDown that's a legitimate threat. Maybe Braun, maybe Roman. But if Roman's supposed to be the guy that's gonna go after Bray Wyatt or The Fiend for the Universal title, so there's no legitimate threat there. Now, there is a guy on NXT that might be a legitimate threat. Now, I know maybe too soon, too fast, but lo and behold, he did do pretty goddamn well at the Survivor Series in the 5-on-5-on-5. Was the last man for NXT, only to lose to Roman Reigns, but credible performance. Now, I've heard rumors about it being Cain Velasquez again. I heard rumors about it being the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, but Fury's got a mega fight coming up now. he's got to fight DeAndre Wilder, and they just confirmed it. So it's going to happen. So you can't have him. Kane, I think, is suffering a knee injury. So maybe it could be him. Or, and you know, Vince is very high on this guy. I know Michael Bullock might say, oh no, because if this actually happens, he might become property of Monday Night Raw, which means bye-bye to this guy on NXT. Keith Lee, anyone? Want to lay that card down?
I'd love to see it. That would be one of the better big man fights we've had in a while.
Oh yeah. And that would be the perfect guy. I mean, give him the opportunity. Now, again, I know a lot of WWE fans a lot of the pundits will freak out and say, wait a minute. Too soon, too fast. This guy hasn't proven himself. Why is he getting the opportunity? Fresh face, fresh match, which is something Florio always preaches about all the goddamn time. And on top of that, probably the perfect guy and probably the most suitable opponent if you're not going to get any of the big two I just said. So you need a legitimate contender. You need a legitimate fighter. Now, we could have gone down the road and done Roman again, but it's not going to be Roman Reigns. You can't do Roman. Not this time. Because, like I said, it looks like Roman and The Fiend might be on a collision course for WrestleMania. Can't pull that card out. And for Brock Lesnar to come out and fight and be in the Royal Rumble, that's a huge deal. That's a mega deal. At least for us, yeah, title's not on the line, but at least Lesnar's fighting. And Lesnar's going to be in a fight in the Royal Rumble, what he won before back in the day, back in Boston. I think it was like leading up to WrestleMania 19.
2003. Yep.
2003. So he won that Royal Rumble, won it at the number 30 to get into the fight. So
no, he was 29.
29. I stand corrected. He was at 29. This is a whole different spectrum and a whole different time and a different aura. You're starting at the number 1 spot. Like I said, the DOA spot. Normally when you're the first 1 through 5, you're DOA. You're dead on arrival. Normally you never win the Royal Rumble from that spot. However, there's been exceptions to the rule, and there's been a couple of guys that's won it from the first 5 on multiple occasions. So it's not like it's a foregone conclusion that Brock can't win the Royal Rumble. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. This is going to be interesting. I like where they're going with it. I just need to see more. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I totally did not expect this announcement. I mean, many people were expecting maybe for Brock Lesnar to defend the WWE Championship, but yeah, I mean, like you said, this is the first time since the 1990 Royal Rumble where the WWE Champion is in the Royal Rumble match without the title being on the line. So, yeah, I mean, and Paul Heyman saying that Brock Lesnar is going to enter as number 1, so that's a dangerous that's a dangerous line that he's crossing. I mean, only 2 superstars have won the Royal Rumble from that number 1 spot. Who were those 2? The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit. So Brock is going to try to become the 3rd superstar to win the Royal Rumble from that number 1 spot. It's a slippery slope that he's on, but yeah, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. So, and as far as like Keith Lee, I mean, as a man that could possibly enter and win it, but we'll have to wait and see on that as well. I mean, some people, like you said, it's too soon for that to happen, but Vince McMahon is high. He's sold high on Keith Lee, so but like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. So there's really nothing more to say. So Dee Woodson, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, this was a very, I guess you could say this is a very hot segment that they had to start off the show. How often do you actually get Brock Lesnar to actually appear? And, especially in a place like Oklahoma City. I mean, I don't ever think I remember him ever really popping up there, but it is what it is. Heyman's good about making promises. Most of the time they do come true. So we'll just have to see if Brock can last through 29 other people going through. But yeah, there's a lot of people that would love to have Brock's number. I think one of them that I've heard that actually wants to get in the ring with him is Matt Riddle. But I don't know if that's going to happen either. I mean, I don't think some of the NXT guys are quite ready to take on that kind of a challenge yet. But they're getting really good over there, so I can't say too much negative on that. But this was a good segment. Definitely storyline building and definitely building up for Rumble. So not much more I'm going to say. It's yours, Florio.
All right, and we move on to our first match of the night, and it was one of our two big title matches to start it off. United States Heavyweight Championship, the rematch from the house show at Madison Square Garden. Andrade defending against Rey Mysterio. Winner of the match, 19 minutes, 55 seconds, and still the United States Heavyweight Champion, El Idolo Andrade. And what a week it has been for that young man, winning the United States Championship in Madison Square Garden, and then becoming the Queen's King, if you will. Wink, wink. So I think you know that story. So there's really nothing more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Let's start it off. They had some classics on SmackDown about this time a year ago. And a year later, another classic here on Monday Night Raw, but a very, boy, that finish, though. Ooh. But even with that finish, it was still a damn good match. So MF, come on in and let's get your thoughts on the latest chapter of this great legacy of Andrade and Rey Mysterio. But you notice after the match, Andrade went there. He literally pulled the mask off of Rey Mysterio, and MF knows better than anybody the ramifications of that, going to the Lucha Libre. I mean, nobody knows that story better than MF does. When someone pulls off the mask, MF, you know what that's like.
Oh, no. Oh, when someone pulls off the mask, get ready for an international incident with the Latinos. Oh, that is a major no-no in professional wrestling. If you do that in a Latin American area, the disrespect is paramount. My blood got boiling from 0 to 1,000 when the mask came off. That is total disrespect, uncalled for, unnecessary, and a major foul in professional wrestling. That's something you do not do in wrestling, is take a man's mask off. That's their identity. That's their lifeblood. That's their family lineage. And for something like that to happen, pointless, unnecessary, unacceptable, uncalled for, and downright reprehensible. That is rotten to the core. And that's a major no-no. Florio, you know how I feel about the mask.
I absolutely do.
So, that's a major no-no. Major no-no in my mind. Do you want me to give a rating for this, or does it really?
The match was great. We have to give it a rating.
I'll give it 3.5 stars. I say that's fair enough. So 3.5 stars, nothing more for me. I'm sorry, I'm just boiling over the mask. You know how that goes. Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give it about 3.5 stars as well. I could have given it 4, but the ending really did really killed it a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. But yeah, Florio and I had our Monday Night Raw chat tonight, and when we saw Andrade take off Rey Mysterio's mask, I mean, I was literally sitting there and like, oh, she's. I know somewhere Fletch is probably hopping mad or his blood was boiling because, like you said, that's a sign of disrespect when you take somebody's mask off. I mean, it's like you're basically spitting into the face of the Lucha Libre family, and that seems that's what Andrade did tonight. He literally spit in the face. Well, not just Andrade, but Zelina Vega too. The two of them basically said, "Screw you, Latinos. I only care about myself, el ídolo." And Fletch, I know how much you like Andrade and especially Zelina Vega, but I'm pretty sure tonight you just lost respect.
They're on my crap list tonight. I could say something else, but I'm going to keep it a PG show. But they're on my crap list tonight. They're in the doghouse. And Dee Woodson, I need to borrow your woodshed because a couple of people need to be in there tonight.
Hey, I'll help you.
Yeah, definitely. So 3.5 stars. That's pretty much all I'm going to say on it. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, it's definitely 3.5 stars. And yeah, Fletch, come on over and the both of us will take them both out. You can have Andre and I'll have Vega, and we'll just take them out. Sound good? Anyway, it was a good match. I mean, they were going really well, and then that finish just really took away from it. Him unmasking Rey, and especially when Rey was so concerned about her after taking her out, and then they did all this. So yeah, and of course we did have the shenanigans from her putting his foot on the rope just to get the match restarted so that he could retain the title, which kind of, I'm not real crazy about that, but it is what it is. I mean, it is a little early for Andrade to lose the title. So yeah, not much more I'm gonna say about it. It's yours, Florio.
All right. Yes, very, very interesting developments indeed when it comes to that. I mean, but here's the thing: later in the night, though, Rey Mysterio would get his comeuppance there in a backstage moment. He actually took out Andrade and he got his mask back, so all is right with the world. So really nothing to worry about in that regard. So with that being said, let's move on to our next match of the evening, which was actually it was our other big title match. It was the Raw Tag Team Championship triple threat matchup. It featured the champions, the Viking Raiders, defending against the former champions, Gallows and Anderson, and former NXT Tag Team champions, the Street Profits of Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. And I love Montez Ford on Twitter. He always posts every single day, God is good. So little nod for me and Dee Woodson there. But nonetheless, the winners of the match in approximately, let me see if we can get the time here, 15 minutes, 15 seconds, and still the Raw Tag Team Champions, Viking Raiders, they win the match. Michael Bullock, we started off with you. Another great championship matchup here.
Yeah, once again, I mean, another really good championship match here. I'll give it about somewhere between 3.5 to 3 3/4 on this. I mean, a very good match here, to say the very least. I mean, it was. I love the work done by all three teams. I mean, Street Profits. Say what you want about their skit, but they could definitely get it done in the ring. And yeah, the Viking Raiders continue their dominant reign in the Raw Tag Team division as their champs. So now the big question is, what's next for the Viking Raiders? Who's going to be the next team to step up to them? So there's really nothing more to say. 3.5 stars is my rating. So Didi Woodson, it's yours, and all I can say is, well, let's just say this match here was the last positive thing from Raw.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to give it 3 to 3.5 stars. I mean, it was a really good match. They gave it lots of time, which was really good, and it had a very good pace and a lot of fun to watch these guys hanging out and flying and tagging each other. And the three of them worked very well off of each other. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was nice, to have uh, the OC out there without Styles interfering and actually showing what the two guys can do by themselves. And yeah, they lost the match, but still, it was a very well done match. The Viking Raiders are still dominating the tag team on Raw, and me personally, I'd like to see the Viking Raiders go up against AOP. I think that would be a pretty good match to see. So we'll have to wait and see what comes up next. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 3.5 stars for me as well. I mean, it was a strong match. I mean, both title matches delivered in spades. I got to say that the Andrade and Ray was just a little better, if I'm going to be honest with you. But this was a strong tag team match with good action from bell to bell. WWE loaded up the first hour and 15 minutes of the show by giving away everything they advertised. And it'll be interesting to see how they – it was going to be interesting to see how they filled out the remainder of the show beyond the main event. But other than that, though, I mean, very strong matchup here. I'm going to tweak the U.S. match a little bit. I'm going to tweak it to about 3.5 to 3 3/4. But I'm going to give this a solid 3.5. All three teams work great, like Didi said. So yeah, big win for the Viking Raiders. So MF, I got to ask the question: who's next for the Viking Raiders in the Raw Tag Team titles?
I don't know. I mean, you just eliminated two of your biggest opponents here, so I mean, it could be anybody at this point in the game. It was a great matchup, no doubt about it. 3.5 stars. I totally agree with you on that as well. I don't think there's anything more that we could add to that. They did a great job, and yeah, Anthony, it's all yours.
Yeah, and then this is where the show really starts to fall off the cliff here, if you will. The Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. I mean, she comes out and cuts the promo and, talks about the dominance that Asuka has had over her over the last couple of years, dating back to their days on SmackDown. But, it started last year at the Royal Rumble when Asuka successfully defended the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then, of course, those tag team matches with the Kabuki Warriors and the whole 9 yards. But yeah, this is, I mean, Becky cuts a great promo, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, out comes Asuka spewing out all this gibberish in Japanese. I mean, Bullock and I, we got a kick out of this segment. I'll tell you. Let me tell you, boys. And but nothing really came out of this. I mean, Becky just smacks Asuka, and then Asuka just absolutely goes off the deep end in Japanese. So it'll be interesting to see how this match turns out at the Royal Rumble in Minute Maid Park in a few weeks. But nonetheless, I mean, I don't know what else there was to say. I mean, guys, do you guys want to get into this, or if not, we can move on. It's completely okay if you want to move on. It's fine. So but they did a good job of making it seem like Asuka has Lynch's number, and Lynch had a moment here, and that's fine. But I hope they get back to making Asuka look dominant, with the few weeks we have before the Rumble match. So, all right, and then we had Eric Rowan and his little friend squaring off against KJ Orso. Eric Rowan squashes this Hammernager in a very short amount of time, 25 seconds. And what happened here, apparently, Rowan got the up close and personal, got the Hammernager up close and personal with that little thing inside the briefcase. And then after a couple of moments, the dude's face was bleeding, and then the guy ends up screaming like a damn girl. Oh boy, Bullock and I, we had a lot of fun with this. I mean, we compared it to being getting the loser's end of the purse money at the old pay window. Sound familiar there, Bullock? So that's all I can say on that. So
the one thing I'm wondering is what the hell was inside that thing that made them all busted open and crap. There must be some kind of demonic thing or something that you and Didi might have to pray on, because whatever it is, it's not good. And I'm a little iffy about what the hell's inside there.
Yeah, I don't blame you, MF. I mean, who wouldn't be? So let's just let's just move on. AJ Styles squashing Akira Tozawa, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And it was announced that AJ Styles and Randy Orton will go one-on-one again next week at the legendary Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. And then we had, and now this is where it really falls off the cliff, Lashley and Lana, another segment. They brought that priest back, the gentleman from last week, who quote-unquote officiated their wedding. And yeah, so how'd that work out? Not so well. Rusev cuts a promo from obviously a green screen, obviously. And it was announced next week that Lashley and Rusev will go at it again. Lana, of course, will be in Lashley's corner. And Liv Morgan is going to be in Rusev's corner. So I think we can fully expect a cat fight next week between Lana and Morgan. So, and they'll get MF channeling his inner Joey Styles, if you know what I mean. So let's just move on here. Then we had Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair comes out, and apparently it was going to be a match with her and Sarah Logan. Oh no, that did not happen. It wasn't a match. Oh no, this was a straight up fight. And well, we all know Sarah Logan is a Viking wife, as we all know. And well, it looks like they're turning Sarah Logan heel, which I think is the right direction here, considering that Sarah Logan is not one of the big names, but she disrespected the Queen, and she actually went to town on her robe. And Jerry the King Lawler on commentary said that the robe that Charlotte wore was a gift from her father, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. We'll wait and see how that turns out. But Charlotte and Logan, that could be a little interesting side feud there for the Queen before she gets ready for the Rumble match. Maybe we'll see Sarah Logan in that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So, and then Drew McIntyre squashes No Way Jose, 1 minute and 40 seconds. But guys, did you notice that the fans were actually cheering for Drew McIntyre during this? I mean, that's very interesting. And it was also announced that Drew McIntyre is going to enter the Royal Rumble match. So that Rumble match is starting to get loaded, let me tell you. So especially on that men's side, when you got the Big Dog, the Beast, and AJ, and now you got McIntyre in there. Oh boy, that's going to be something. So that's all we can say on that. Aleister Black squashing Shelton Benjamin, 2 minutes and 50 seconds. it was looking good a little early, but then after the match, Buddy Murphy came out, and Buddy Murphy went to town on Aleister Black, and guess what? We're getting it again next week. Buddy Murphy, Aleister Black for the third time. Will the third time be the charm for the quote unquote best kept secret? So we'll have to wait and see on that. So we're gonna move on now to I believe this is where we end up at the main event. Yes. 6-man tag, Seth Rollins and the AOP squaring off against Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and this mystery partner that Joe had been teasing all night. Well, it wasn't the most earth-shattering, but it's someone that at least it was someone we really did not expect. The Big Show. Yes, the Big Show was the mystery partner. But when all was said and done, the fight gets thrown out. Owens, Joe, and Show win the match by disqualification, 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Seth Rollins with a steel chair causing the disqualification. So this is an automatic NA, but I thought it was a solid main event, even with the DQ finish. And next week on Raw, these 6 men are gonna engage in what they are billing as a quote unquote fist fight. So, I'm very curious to see what the rules are for this. So that's all there is to say on that. So let's get into our overall review of this first Raw of the year. Didi Whitson, let's start it off with you.
It wasn't horrible. I mean, it started out great. It was very newsworthy, but the matches were rushed. They were short near the end, from after the second match, or you just really didn't have much of anything. You had a lot of just they didn't even introduce AJ's opponent. We know it was Tozawa, but they didn't even play his music when he came out, which didn't make a lot of sense. Same with Sarah Logan, same with No Way Jose. They just kind of automatically appeared in the ring, and then because they come out, I guess, during either a segment or during the commercial break or whatever. And then, of course, you did have the one little spot in the back where we see Ray actually got his mask back. So that's, that was good. But, all in all, it wasn't, a horrible show, but it just, I think the backstage segments and the 2 opening matches were probably the biggest things besides, the segment with Brock Lesnar that we had for the night. So I'm actually going to give it about 6.5 stars, only because it did do some Royal Rumble building, and we did have a few good storylines that was building off of it. But other than that, I mean, other than the beginning of the show and the backstage segments, it's kind of a throwaway show. But yeah, there was some storyline stuff that progressed through it. So yeah, not much more I'm going to say about it. So good night, guys. See you Wednesday.
Yes, we'll see you Wednesday, Didi. Absolutely. I, for the most part, agree with Didi's rating. I'm leaning more towards 6 out of 10, to be honest with you. I mean, the show started off with so much promise. I mean, the opening segment, the big announcement from Lesnar being in the Rumble match, despite the fact that he's the champion. Those 2 title matches, which both delivered. But, there have been a number of positive changes in Raw lately, but we didn't really see much of it. I mean, but both title matches were really, really good. I'd have to say Andrade and Ray was just a smidgen better than the tag team match, even though that was really good. And then the Lesnar opening, but once we got to Becky and Asuka, that's really when the show fell off the cliff, and we had nothing but cutouts, and awful angles, even though some notable things came out of it. I mean, Charlotte and Sarah Logan, I mean, what a fight that was. That was a be a woman fight. And then you throw in the fans cheering for Drew McIntyre. I think a face turn could be in order here because the fans are starting to get behind them. So I really don't know what else there is for me to say on this other than the fact that, I mean, if this, I mean, with the way the show started, if it had just kept on going, if they just kept on pushing and pushing and pushing, we could have been talking really high. But unfortunately, just it is what it is. So 6.5 from me. I agree with Dee Dee's rating. So MF, let's get your thoughts.
Oh, most definitely, Anthony. 6 out of 10 is the actual rating for this show. The first half of it, I mean, just the first half alone, before the Becky and Asuka segment, I mean, if Raw would have ended right then and there, you're looking at 9.5. Like, you were really, really, really strong coming out of the gate. It had me worried. It literally had me worried as a SmackDown fan saying, oh no, how are we going to top this? But it came back down to earth. It ended at 6 at the end, which is viable and feasible for SmackDown to do, especially with all the returns and all of the guys who came in last week. So, I mean, we have a chance to do something, but Raw really, really had a chance to be something special and dropped the ball mightily towards the end. Like I said, this could have been a knockout right at the jump, and they were looking wicked strong. So 6 out of 10. Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, this show was so good at the beginning, and then the last half of it was just really left to be desired. So I agree, 6 out of 10. So there's really nothing more to say. So let's just move on, Florio.
We'll move on to my Tony's take. It'll be a quick one because we only had 205 Live because Impact Wrestling is still in best of mode. But Impact Wrestling will return tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Access TV, the Go Home Show for the Hard to Kill pay-per-view, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But let's get into 205 Live, coming back after a couple of weeks hiatus. And, folks, this was a throwaway show if there ever was one. Danny Burch against Arya Daivari. Arya Daivari wins the match, 11 minutes and 20 seconds. 2 stars. It was perfectly okay stuff, but the crowd didn't care at all. Singh brothers in a squash match. We're not going to really get into that. Cruiserweight champion Angel Garza going up against a former champion in his own right, Tony Nese. Angel Garza wins in 13 minutes and 45 seconds. 2-star match. Disappointing match. It wasn't horrible, but it was easily the worst outing I've seen from both men in recent memory. No sense of urgency, poor transitional work, obvious blown stuff, and not only did they really not click, but they couldn't do anything to make the crowd care. I mean, it is what it is. So, not a good show, guys. This was a 3.5 out of 10. Same problems exist with 205 Live. The show has no identity. Running after Friday Night SmackDown provides a dead atmosphere, and there's no hype or setup for anything to the point that people jokingly ask, are we getting a show this week? It exists, which is a shame because at one point it was the best show on WWE television, but unfortunately it was a bad show, and don't bother watching it. I mean, it was a complete and utter waste of time. So that's really all there is to say on that. So that's it for that. So as I mentioned before, this weekend is the TNA Hard to Kill pay-per-view, which will be in the Dallas, Texas area, at a venue called the Bomb Factory. So here's the card for that. In no particular order, we got Ken Shamrock against Madman Fulton, Moose versus Rhino, Brian Cage versus Rob Van Dam, Eddie Edwards against Michael Elgin. That's got the potential to be the show stealer right there. The North will defend the World Tag Team Championships against Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Taya Valkyrie will defend the Knockouts Championship in a three-way match against Jordan Grace and ODB. Ace Austin will defend the X Division Championship against Trey Miguel. And the main event, the most anticipated main event, maybe in Impact Wrestling history, man versus woman for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sami Callihan defending the title against Tessa Blanchard. I mean, everything in my gut is telling me to go with Sami Callihan to retain. But in my heart, and in all honesty, I want to see history made. I want to see Tessa Blanchard become only the second woman in professional wrestling history to win a recognized men's World Heavyweight Championship. The only other one to do it, MF knows it all very well. It was Sexy Star, Lucha Underground. She won the Lucha Underground Heavyweight Championship as part of that Aztec Warfare matchup. So,
but actually, she would become the first universal recognized, because I don't know if Lucha Underground is officially I know it's a show, but it's part of AAA. It was under the AAA Signia. If Tessa wins, she would become the first universally recognized women's world heavyweight champion. So no, there's a lot of history on the line for Tessa. So this is even bigger than if Sexy Star does it. But when Sexy Star did it, it was huge. If Tessa does it, it's bigger, because you're talking under the banner of TNA, under the banner of Impact Wrestling, under Anthem. And it's a major company. So this would universally be recognized as a world heavyweight champion.
do you think she does it, MF?
Man, that's a tough call. I want to say yes, but I don't know if she's going to do it. I don't know. It's such a tough order to do it, and to do it against Sami, who most likely will have the North with them.
You mean OVE?
I mean, OVE. I don't know. I would love to see Tessa do history and win it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I definitely want to see it. I mean, you know how I am about hoping for historic moments, and we'll just have to wait and see come Sunday night from the Bomb Factory in Dallas, Texas, when this all goes down. So that will put the bow on this first Ridiculously Raw of the year. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in, as always. MF, come on back in and let's set the table for the return of Wednesday Night Mayhem after a 2-week hiatus.
Yes, it is. We're going to have NXT and we're going to have AEW at 10:30 Eastern. And now I'm going to debate, because should I do Wrestle Kingdom on Wednesday, or should I say that for Friday, guys? What do you think?
Save it for Friday.
Save it for Friday. All right. So Wrestle Kingdom and the New Year's Dash will all be on Friday. So yeah, AEW and AEW and NXT on Wednesday, 10:30, and that's it. So Floyo, take it home.
All righty. So I'll have the complete. So next week here on Ridiculously Raw, I will have in my Tony's Take the return of Impact Wrestling, the Go Home show. I don't want to give too much away on that. We'll also have 205 Live, and I will have the results of the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. We'll see if Tessa makes history. I'm hoping for it. And then Wednesday, we have Wednesday Night Mayhem with MF. We'll get into AEW off that incredible effort last week. I mean, what a damn good show that was. That was easily their best Dynamite show since they started. No doubt about it. And then NXT as well. Rhea Ripley is going to make her first appearance as the women's champion. And the first match of the Dusty Classic is going to take place. The Forgotten Sons are going to take on Imperium. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. So that's that on Wednesday. Thursday, we got the football show, 10 o'clock. The divisional playoffs. Minnesota Vikings, San Francisco 49ers, Tennessee Titans, Baltimore Ravens, Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs, and in what I think could be the game of the week, the Seattle Seahawks against the Green Bay Packers. So And then on top of that, we will also preview the college football playoff national championship game. Number 3, Clemson. Number 1, LSU. The Superdome in New Orleans. It's a bona fide home game for LSU, for goodness sakes. So we'll get into that on Thursday. And then Friday night Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. We will get into Friday night SmackDown. And MF will also have his highly anticipated recap of Wrestle Kingdom. I heard about the results, MF. I can't wait to get your thoughts on all of it. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, it's your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here. For Girl, I'm Michael Fletcher. For the Phenom Michael Bolick, and in spirit, Didi Woodson and Derek Ferreira. And Derek Ferreira always in forever. You know the routine. Everybody, thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for Mayhem, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye. Remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Goodbye, my friends.